What is up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and we are checking out Battlefield 3 Co-op. So we are going to unplug a little bit from the multiplayer, take a few minutes out of our day, and just say goodbye, friends and loved ones. We're not going to play online with you. I'm not going to totally disconnect and become a hobbit and play single player, but we are playing a little co-op mode for just a minute while we talk about multiplayer versus offline. So do you realize, if you had to take a guess, if somebody said, how many people do you think bought Battlefield 3 and never played online multiplayer? They bought it for the single player campaign, or maybe they bought it for the co-op, but let's say, just for the sake of this discussion, that we're just talking about buying it for the single player campaign. Well, if you don't know the answer, I've got it for you. So I was reading an article earlier today, and it kind of surprised me because it's a rather large minority. Because when you think of Battlefield, it originally started out as a multiplayer-only game. It didn't even have a single player. And I'm sure you've heard the argument before that DICE and EA should focus on multiplayer and forget all about single-player campaign because nobody ever plays it, right? I'm sure you've heard that or seen that in the comment section below. It's true. A lot of people say that. But this stat in this news article was rather surprising. One of the top dogs there at EA has said that their metrics suggest that up to 20% of the Battlefield population, they don't play multiplayer. They don't want to get online and experience that for whatever reason. Maybe they don't have, internet connection, or I don't know. I guess you could still play single player without an internet connection. We're not that far yet on the consoles like they are on PC, but it's a pretty large group, and I was just blown away because that is a lot of people. 20% doesn't sound a whole lot when you compare it to 80%, but when you think about all the millions of copies of games that they've sold, that is a pretty large population. And it kind of made me think of, like somebody going to a titty bar, and you're going in there to order food off the bar, and it's like you're not even checking out what's going on around you. You don't care. You're just there for the good hamburgers and barbecue chips that you could pick up anywhere. But instead you went to the titty bar to go pick it up. You can get a good single player experience anywhere. But Battlefield 3, I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't make it very far into the single player. I didn't make it far at all into the co-op. The single player I kind of stopped whenever we were in the jet. And when I realized that I wasn't actually controlling the jet, I was like, what the hell am I doing? And I jumped immediately online, and I haven't left since. So anyway, are you in the minority, or you happen to watching this video and you only play single player? I would like to know why you haven't tried out multiplayer. I know some people actually have a fear of jumping online and playing with people, or they don't like that interaction. I guess they're afraid that they're going to get mad, or somebody's going to piss them off. But I mean, hell, that mute button is amazing, and it's relatively easy to use in almost any game possible. So, I don't know. I understand not wanting to try out new things, but I think if most people would just give it a chance, man, they wouldn't want to go back. And I'm not saying get rid of single player. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I want to see the single player built up. I think in Battlefield 3, they did a great job of bringing a realistic world. The graphics, the layout, everything feels real, but it missed that story, or feeling that, like, I wanted to go out there and kill people. Like, instead of just killing people, give me a reason as to why I'm putting a bullet through all these skulls, So I would like to see story worked on. As far as the graphics and everything, they've got that nailed. So I think that just needs to build from there. So I'm not one of those who's saying get rid of single player. Single player has its role. In fact, I've been showing a lot of single player games here on my channel recently, which I usually don't, but there's been a lot of good ones coming out recently. So it's not always multiplayer, and I like to jump back and forth. But I did find it interesting to know that 20% of all Battlefield 3 players have not seen the titties at the titty bar. So they've gotten themselves a good meal, and I guess that's fine for them. But you're missing out. Definitely missing out. All right, guys. So let me know if you are in the 20%, or let me know what you think the people in the 20% are thinking. All right. So there's your question for the day. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. Thanks for watching.